Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there, but especially to my dad, the greatest father of all time. Happy Father's Day. And just like I did with Mother's Day, I'm going to do the same thing with Father's Day, where I'm going to pick an animated classic that my dad used to watch with us all the time whenever I was little, The Brave Little Toaster. With my mom, I did Winnie the Pooh, so my dad, I'm doing this one, because this is probably his favorite, if not at least one of his favorite animated films ever created. So let's get to it. So first things first, I'm going to kick this off with a spoiler warning. Brave Little Toaster came out in 1987, so if you have not seen it, it's kind of on you, but I will be talking about major plot points, so come back later if you don't want the movie spoiled for you and you actually plan on going to see this movie first. I will say it is worth the watch. So anyway, come back afterwards if you don't want the plot for a movie made in 1987 spoiled for you. Anyway, without anything else, I'm going to get the negatives out of the way just real quick, and then we'll move on to our positive section and just some different plot points that I liked and everything else. But anyway, negatives, let's get that out of the way first. Only two negatives for this entire movie. The first negative being the songs sang by like the original songs for the movie, they don't get good till the latter half of the movie. The first two songs I would say aren't really anything like to write home about, and they don't really do much for the plot. Where the songs in the latter half actually move the plot along, make you feel what you're supposed to, and are actually, what can I say, they're pretty good. So it's one of those things where the songs at the beginning are forgettable, and I always so forgettable that no matter how many times I watch this movie, it kind of surprises me that they are there. Where the last half of the songs, like the songs near the end of the movie, they like I remember they're there. Like I remembered going into this to watch it again. I mean, they're memorable, they're pretty good, and honestly, they help out the plot and make you feel something for that moment that you're in. Where the first half, like I said, the first I think the two songs after they leave the house that I think there's only two, if I remember correctly. The two songs after they leave the house aren't really that great, not really memorable, and don't really do much for the plot. So I feel like they were just kind of put in there for some runtime reasons. Other than that, it's not too bad. It's not like the songs are terrible. They're just forgettable and, like I said, don't really help movie wise. And then the other complaint I have is there's a big moment at the end that I'm going to get to later whenever I talk about this, the plot and stuff. But there's a big moment at the end that I just don't feel like they let sit long enough. It doesn't have to be like a whole 20 minutes after. Like it just some more time. Like they did it right earlier in the movie, so it just didn't make sense that they didn't do it right later in the movie, especially since it was the big finale of the film. So overall, only two negatives. Other than that, it's all positives from here. Let's get going. Before I get to the plot of the film, I would like to share a little fun fact. This movie is actually probably a big contributor to what made Toy Story. In fact, the animators from this movie went on to create Pixar, which created Toy Story. Toy Story being the film that made Pixar blow up and get as big as it is today. So anyway, Toy Story kind of owes this one for it has the same idea. And inanimate objects, have secret lives of their own. They come to life whenever the people aren't around, and they're out looking for their owner because they got lost or abandoned somehow. Both have very similar plots, two very different movies. I will give it that, but very similar plots. So Toy Story kind of owes this movie a little bit if you think about it. Without this movie, there probably wouldn't be a Toy Story. So anyway, just a little fun fact for you. Moving on now. Now, since I have a lot of positives, I'm just going to go ahead and just kick it off. One, I like how this movie just doesn't mess around a whole lot. Like I said, besides those few songs in the beginning that don't really push the plot along too much and aren't really that memorable, I feel like everything else in this movie works together really, really well. To kick it off, it sets the tone for the movie right off the bat. What the air conditioner blows a fuse, literally blows up because he gets irritated because all of the other things in the house are always fighting. They're always making fun of each other, and they're always miserable because their master is not around. So the remaining objects are like, let's work together and let's go out and find the master. And that's what kicks them off on this incredible journey. And as this movie goes on, it deals with a lot of heavy subjects for an animated children's film. That's where I think this kind of leaves the children filmed area and goes towards the family film area. If you don't know what the difference is, a family film is something that kids can enjoy, but the whole family can kind of enjoy it as well. Where I would say, in Elmo and Grouchland, I would say that is a children's film, where Shrek is a family film. So I would say this movie's a family film where it deals with heavier themes that adults can relate to and kids, if they understand, can relate to. Plus, it's whimsical enough that the kids can love it and the adults can love it too if they just feel like having an imagination and stuff. So this works together with both, but as watching this as an adult, there's a lot of heavy things in this that I've never fully thought about till watching it recently. One, this movie teaches a lot about having to get along with everybody else, but it does it in a way where it's like getting along will lead to their survival, because this also teaches a lot about sacrifice, humility, putting your needs aside for other people and the people around you, learning to get along, feel compassion for one another. Kindness is a big thing in this movie, and I feel like all of its plot points land really well. Plus, like the fear of abandonment, the fear of loneliness, it's all here. I mean, there is a freaking nightmare sequence with a clown that says this. I would say the nightmare sequence is the first time where, this is real stuff here, where you see the Toaster's anxiety about, not ever finding the master, going on this mission, even though he feels like he knows that it's futile, but he still has hope that they can make it to the master because he wishes to be happy again. Because none of these guys were happy where they were at. Like, they all hated each other, and you can see it at the beginning of this movie because they fight so much, it's almost insufferable. It's like, come on, guys, just give a rest, a moment's peace. We're at the end. They're such a good team that they do everything for each other. The first big moment comes because the Toaster tells the lamp something. So the Toaster starts being nice to the blanket, and the lamp's like, why are you being nice to him? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And, I like it. It makes me happy. So the lamp, hears this, and he's like, that's how I think whenever, I'm with the master and I'm helping him out. And he wants to get that feeling again. So you know what he does? Because right after this, it's nightmare sequence, and then everybody's panicking because the blanket was blown away. The power is out in the battery. They can't keep going. And the lamp pulls this for people he didn't care about only moments before. Zeus, your son has returned! Now, the good news is he does survive that. I know it doesn't look like it, but, he sticks his neck out for his friends, and you find out later in the movie that every single character in the main group does this as well because they start feeling happy when they're helping each other. And at the end, by the end of the movie, you realize that they realize that it wasn't about, finding the master again. It was about finding what makes you happy, about finding people you can be happy with. And they realize it's each other. They did, complete their goal and make it to their master, which does make them happy. But they also realize that they need each other because they care about each other now. And it's a big thing because, with how they started with not even caring, thinking that each other can die. Like, whenever the air conditioner died, all of them kind of cracked a joke, except for the blanket. They're all like, he was a big jerk anyway. He's gone now. Like, that air conditioner died. It ends up getting put back together and, it ends up being alive later. But no, he died at the beginning of this movie, and they all made a joke about it. And then by the end of it, all of them care so much for each other. And not only that, they care for other people, and they feel sad when other appliances die, like in this really scary scene where this man rips apart a blender right in front of him. And then right after that happens, we see this.
You must be the new boys in town.
Yeah, besides being surprised by those first two songs being in it that I always forget about, this is one that I've seen this movie a lot, by the way. I want you to know that. How did I not pick up on an anatomically correct tape recorder? It's a female tape recorder with little tape recorder boobs. Now, right after the horror segment, that is that whole scene with the person tearing them apart and stuff, we end up moving on to where they actually make it to their master's home. And you think, oh, that's the end of the movie. They made it. Wrong. Because the appliances that are at the master's house heard that he wants his old appliances to take with him to college, and they wanted to go to college with him, not the old appliances. So whenever the old appliances show up and the master's gone to actually look for the old appliances at the cabin, which means if they would have waited 2 more days, they would have been found by him anyway. But, once he drives out to go see them, the old appliances show up, and the new ones throw them out the window into the dumpster, leading to the big finale. And let me tell you, the song here, the way the scene is cut, the way the scene is shot, just you feel, worried for the characters. Like, it's going to be a happy ending, but you're still worried for all of these characters. They're in the dump, and all these cars are singing about who they were in life right before they get crushed. It's a dark, dark scene, but I can't lie, that song slaps.
I just can't seem to get started. Don't have the heart to live in the fast lane. All that is past and gone.
And now for the big ending. So, that negative I had earlier where I was like, they don't let a big moment at the end kind of sit. This is that part. Though it is a very big moment, and it is very like, wow, I can't believe that happened. And that is when the toaster decides to sacrifice himself for his friends and for his master. And it's the biggest sacrifice of all of them because he actually full out dies. It's not till he's repaired later by his master in the next scene. Like I said, they should have had a short moment where they thought, oh my gosh, the toaster's not coming back. But the movie just kind of fixes them and then ends, which is my only complaint about the film besides the first two songs that were really forgettable and unimportant. This scene is it's very strong. Like I said, the toaster friggin' sacrifices him. He jumps into some gears just like that. Not terrible. I just wish they would have let that sit a little bit longer, like the shock from seeing the toaster die on screen. But he did end up getting fixed. They end up being all together, and the camera actually focused on them being together rather than them being with their master, because it's like they learned that the companionship they need is with each other and not with the master, but they still wanted to serve him anyway, and they still wanted to be with him. But now they can be with each other, and that is the important part, is that they learn to be with each other, and they actually enjoy each other's company now. It's very heartwarming, very nice to see the toaster reunited with all his friends again. But like I said, that toaster hopping off the ledge, just getting crushed, that's a lot. That's a big finale. That's a big sacrifice. And honestly, like I said, it's one of those things where it is as big as everybody else's, but more so because he actually died when this happened. And it wasn't until he was fixed by his master that he came back to life, where everybody almost died, but they were still well enough to where they still worked. Overall, I'm giving this movie an 8 out of 10. It was great, and I absolutely loved it. Overall, I don't really have any final notes. It's a classic. I highly recommend you go check it out. It's great for any age, no matter who you are. But like I said, great movie. Very much recommend. And happy Father's Day to all of you. So please leave a like and subscribe, and leave in the comments a movie you would like to see, and what were your thoughts on The Brave Little Toaster? Did you see its sequels? What did you think about those? Anyway, that's all for me today. So have a great evening or great morning. And if you're on the toilet, it's time to wipe. I'm Roman Ritchie, and this has been a random Ritchie review.